Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 132 of Tactical Crouch. Kickedtripod here with Yiska and Volamel talking about the playoffs. We got some brackets to review. We're just going to have a fun time. We're just going to have some fun today. Let's have some fun. Thanks for being here. Big thank you to our patron producers, Refined Bean Ferdino, Pin, Battlecrab, Coochie Kopi, Lolshin, Rex Zane, Audio Compass, Kasha, Shar, Nathan, Your Misery, Hunter Tane, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Owen, Chris R3444, Yiska says, Fisher. I didn't even type that right. The OPG, Horbjorn, I listen to this podcast whilst on the toilet and in the shower thinking of Yiska.
I love you, my little children.
Also, a lot has changed. I feel like I don't get the
Battlecrab, Pin, Lolshin, Charlie L, Audio Compass, Pork.
Yeah, you gotta find a new rhythm. There's some
some
extended
right? So
names in there.
This is my bad. So it's kind of tough, but essentially there were a lot of names that have changed, who are since come and gone, and there's some. I actually had a couple that weren't there, that have been there. And I had to send them long apologies. It's like, I suck at this. So we just needed to refresh that a little bit. So big thanks to those Patreon producers. If you like the show, want to support, go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. We got some cool perks there. I love our Crouchers channel. It's just a good time. It is just
building quite the little community.
Yeah.
Saw a post in the book club.
Yep.
I wish I could contribute, but
I gotta
be real
stop
with you
reading
guys.
again.
I have
Can't
not
read.
touched these books I've bought. yeah. This just in. I'm illiterate. Back to you, John.
he's a writer and he transcribes everything. He dictates it.
Yeah, I have a human recorder that just follows me around.
Hey,
She's
Siri.
like, write this.
Hey, Siri. Title for this article is
Why
China
profit is incredibly lazy. Part 2.
Is China better than profit from China?
Yeah.
Undo. Sorry for anybody with Siri devices, by the way, because she's not going to know how to parse that one
All in
out.
good fun. All in good fun.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at tactical_crouch or watch the show youtube.com/tacticalcrouch. Leave us a sub there, by the way. We're almost to 4,000 subs. It'd be really cool if we get there. That's kind of a cool milestone.
Wait, what?
Right? On YouTube?
Still, that's kind of crazy.
That's a good number. Yeah, not on Twitch. Not on Twitch, but yeah.
I was like, wait, whoa, that's crazy. Like,
almost 4,000 subs on YouTube, which is pretty great.
I just woke up and we're at 4K subs. I mean, still, like, YouTube's like
that's cool.
Popping off a little bit.
That's
so
a cool number.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Let's talk about the stuff with the things. Frankie Ward coming in, clutch pinch hitting for Zoe over the next couple weeks as host, as she's taking care of some family things. And so that's pretty neat, right? I mean, somebody who is definitely, I would say, well-respected in esports, definitely has the chops to do it. I've only seen positive reactions from the community for seeing Frankie come up there. Yep. So awesome.
Yep. Frankie's great. I think looking ahead in terms of like talent, not development, because that sells her way too short. But in terms of like who they get for either the future of the Overwatch League, if that goes back to traveling and whatnot, I'd love to see Frankie, take over Europe and travel and do all those homestands and just be a part of the league. I think she's a fantastic talent, has shown as much coming in with the World Cup. I believe it was last year. Hopefully Chat can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, fantastic. Love everything she does in CS. I think she has a good head on her shoulders, and yeah, big ups.
Yeah, we'll definitely. I think it's great, especially for the amount of time that there was, while still kind of maintaining. I mean, it would be disingenuous, I think, for me personally, if like we didn't harp on like bring in like big names, blah blah blah. Uber's not totally committed to Overwatch now anymore, like 100%. Like and they kind of bring in, and they do bring in some like tier 1 talent. So I really can't complain. But yeah, that's
Sure.
pretty cool. We also are seeing Gnomes is back for
Yeah.
doing the observing for the playoffs. Which
Somebody
is great.
who I consistently mean to like message and be like, okay, so like, would you be interested in coming on and talking about like what the heck you guys do in that stupid truck, or what you guys did in that stupid truck rather? So if you're interested in looking at the production side of things, maybe in the off season, leave a comment, like and subscribe, ring that bell, all the YouTube things. Thanks for tuning in. Am I an influencer yet? Am I here?
That's gonna be a no for me, dog. You are not an influencer.
How will I ever financially recover?
You won't.
My heart's broken.
Free products pay the bills, is what they say. All right, so I think we kind of got that out of the way. Let's we've got playoffs. We're in play-ins and playoffs for the end of the year. Can you believe the season is done, boys?
Unreal, right?
Yeah,
We've been doing.
I can.
Do we want to open a little side tangent here?
Yeah, I do.
Let's go.
Viewer fatigue is a real thing, isn't it? Are you feeling it?
I was feeling it in June. I'm being honest.
I mean, I've kind of been. I mean, you can guess my opinion on the season as a whole, but I've been kind of itching for it. Like games again. It feels like I'm just spinning my wheels, and it's like I'm thankful that I have another game that I can kind of like sink my teeth into, and other things that I can do. But yeah, I kind of like ready to see like proper Overwatch being played. It feels like I never gave myself the opportunity to be viewer fatigued because I was like, yeah, cool, hero pools, whatever. I'll just watch the tournaments. Like, I'm not really gonna bother with a lot of these weekly games. They don't mean a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, what my viewer fatigue has been, it's not that I don't necessarily want to watch Overwatch League as much as it's like a combination of time, a combination of there have just been a lot of really one-sided games a lot of the time. And so I find myself like waiting for results the next day and going, oh, these are the interesting ones. And I go watch those matches.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch those.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
especially within Asia. Like, I'm not staying up for Asia. It's not happening.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's the reason. You also haven't been around on these watch parties, right? And you've been selectively watching. Yeah, I think that's a better strategy. The thing is, like, I still, maybe that's naive, but like I always think like catching the vibe of the moment helps me somehow to understand what's actually going on. So like I watch the game, and as things develop, I get to interact or see what the community thinks of it on socials and whatnot. Yeah. And to have like more of a full experience, so I'm closer to the end product that people are actually consuming.
Oh, 100%. Like I'm right there with you, and I like sympathize and resonate with that when it comes to like matches that I'm interested in. But if it's like a Boston Titans game, like I'm going to join the chat, and it's just going to be GeoGuessr and Among Us, which I'm not mad at, but it's also like, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Anyways. So it's like, I could be watching, something else. I could be doing something else. Could be working. I don't know.
I mean, it's just a selective viewing. Like, I think everyone just has a second eye on the other Overwatch stream. And if something like noteworthy happens, someone will point it out, or you will. Yep. The problem really that I had this season was selective watching. Live watching doesn't work that well when you can't accurately foretell which like you can pretty convincingly say, if you have behind the scenes information, like who's going to win. You just don't know by how much.
Yep.
And you really don't know anymore what's going to be a good series and what isn't.
Nope.
And that, for me, for someone that tries to watch as much as possible, is very fatigued.
That's a better way to put it than what I because I kind of said like they're all one-sided. It was more that you always kind of knew, you generally knew the results, and then you didn't know which ones were going to be surprising. of the results
Yeah.
that you got wrong, right? Or like you guessed wrong on.
Yeah, how many
So-
times this season do you feel like we've kind of like bigged up like a week as being like, oh, this is the week, like we got so many bangers, and then nothing.
3-0,
And
3-0,
then
3-0,
absolutely
3-0,
trash
3-0.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very often. And I think maybe that's something that like we can ask Eric. But like during his season, there was definitely a point where 3-0s were 50% of the outcomes of matches.
Yep.
Which really felt daunting, right? Like, I don't know. Nothing really is enticing unless I go into a match thread. If I didn't catch it, because sometimes like these games are at 3 a.m., I'm not watching that if I got to work on Monday. So if there's a 3-0 in there and someone tells me this was a really close 3-0, I might rewatch that one. Otherwise, Jesus Christ, like so many 3-0s. And like it also, like you just didn't have these consistent narratives in the midfield, I felt.
Yep, nothing.
Right.
There's no through lines, and that was a big gripe that I had going into, the majority of the season.
And we discussed that a lot on
Won't kick
Mondays,
that
so
dead
we
horse.
will not go there again
Yeah,
today.
no,
Don't
no.
you worry,
No.
young YouTuber, you little Zoomer, getting there on your keyboard, asking your dad for the passcode.
Here's the conclusion of this, right? For me, of course, like the experience itself could be different and maybe less draining. Because, for instance, I can chain watch way more Valorant than I can watch Overwatch when I actually want to understand what's happening. But like having breaks is sweet. I think as a chain viewer, and then honestly, and this is I can't believe I'm saying this, but a shorter season would also probably be more exciting. Like actually, think about we only played 21 games this season, so maybe it's a thing of COVID where like I don't want my entire reality to just be like these half like stomp Overwatch games, but like so I still would have like, let's say 6 months of Overwatch League, and then in the off season we have some cool tournaments or something going on that actually mean something, like the pre-cups, like big ones where everyone participates or something like this. Like
for sure,
that would be sweet. Like that, then I have time to recuperate. Actually, not gonna lie, I'm kind of a big fan of these quarantine breaks between playoffs and the grand finals that really need to happen. Like then I can tell you 3 weeks, I'm hyped at that point for that. That's going to be my stuff. Like that's going to be my esports highlight of the year, pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, just one thing, I felt the same way. Like I'm like I could watch Valorant all day on a Saturday. But like Overwatch, I'm like, ooh, I can build these panels out. I've got some shopping to
find
do.
things to do.
But when Overwatch first came out, and we were talking about Alienware monthly melees, and that's not even when it first came out, but you know what I'm kind of saying?
Yeah.
It
was the same feeling as Valorant. Like you couldn't stop.
I think there is a little bit new, shiny, new, different, refreshing, fun type stuff on Valorant. Like that's not totally, like a knock against Overwatch. Totally.
So they're
still
building the sauce there. Like, man, are players in other games spicy? Like,
have you? Speaking of,
just
like,
you want to go to CDL?
No. Well,
oh my god.
I mean,
dude. Oh, that's a can.
I'm not sure where you're headed, but like,
okay,
seeing what the broadcast is doing at Flashpoint with Pop Flash, interjecting or putting in like Shanks's laugh. I don't know if anybody caught that. His little dolphin laugh. They put that in the broadcast. It feels loose. It feels like they're kind of like really kind of getting into the community and building that up, and it's really, really cool. So it's just fresh. It's fun to diversify and be able to step in other games and try to understand as much as you can.
Like CDL players definitely take it a little bit too far, right? With the Twitter fingers. But Jesus Christ, do these guys go in on socials? It's so refreshing to see. They don't care, dude. Like Scump has 2.1 million followers. If you're a quarter of Ariana Grande, you don't care what the leagues like introduce you to. Like you are going to talk your stuff on Twitter. Like same happened with Clay, which I understood, of course. Like weird situation. Crim6, same stuff. Like we just like went off of his haters, just like I'm the best of all time. Get out. Like that's just the energy of it. Because like I understand, for instance, that a players union in CDL would have helped tremendously against that 4v4 situation, and a lot of them argue that the movement to 4v4 should have only happened in a season where there is expansion, so not as many players would be
displaced
or like without a job. But like, because they have these huge brands where they're like a company in one person, they don't need to care, dude. Like these big personalities, like Scump has like 2.1 million, Crim6 has like 800,000, I think. Same for Clay. It's just nuts, bro. Like they don't need to care. They have the following of a small country. Like they just have the weight. And what are they going to do? Like fire them for talking spicy? Like even they even went in on Exerto like pretty heavily, and it's just like, dude, what is going on here, man? Dude, so pulling any punches, and the culture in that scene is just like
don't mess around, man. I'm telling you,
unreal. Yeah,
we'll just see where they are in 10 years.
I mean, the same is also true for Valorant to a degree, right? We also have the spice.
Yeah. 2 million followers. I don't know what that buys you when you're no longer playing or making content, unless they are. So we'll see.
It's true.
We'll see.
I know what the
I know my retirement plan would be, but
what the bank account is paying off, just like in right.
Like but how quickly is that draining out though?
I was gonna say, dude, you got a plan there. You got a 401.
I mean,
401k that you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but like Hustler sort of hinted at what Kleister was making. At least I read it as such, and that was 500k, right? And he is still a third of Scump's.
Still,
like the money there is pretty insane.
As long as you're smart with it, you're set for life.
Yeah,
you're good. As long
I
as
don't think anyone is there in Overwatch League.
Set for life money.
Yeah.
I think you could have
you have to define set for life money, but
I think there are players in the Overwatch League that could not work for the rest of their foreseeable lives.
With what kind
like 1
of
or 2 maybe?
With what kind of like life are they living? Like, are they living in LA in a nice apartment?
No.
Because I'm like, honestly, dude.
But who would want to live there?
Any Overwatch League pro
people
that I'm aware of, they'd be set for the next 10 years in San Francisco. That's it.
Like, you could probably buy a house in like suburban Oregon and be fine. Like. DoorDash your meals every day and just kind of live the rest of your life.
And have a Honda Civic with an upgraded stereo.
Yep. Nothing crazy.
Nice
but
computer when you need it, kind of stuff like that.
Stream when you want.
Yeah,
make a little bit of play money.
I don't know.
That's perfection.
I think set for life. The best thing I could hope for if I have a short career like that, where it's just like I'm injected with $3 million or whatever. Let's just say, is that I can use that money to reinvest, basically get friends and family on a bunch of startups, and then just roll. Then you're set for life. Like they still don't have to work a day in their life outside of like
for sure. Yeah,
signing checks, 100K here. 50K
meetings
here, meetings.
I mean, if you're smart with it,
consulting.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's true. Yeah.
Anyways, all right, let's talk about some of these brackets. Can we roast some first?
Sure.
Can we roast some? We asked chat.
Yeah.
To
there we go.
Send us their ones. Can you guys look through and tell me which ones you want to do first?
I mean, we can
the first one.
Yeah, we can do the first one first. I did tell chat that it was going to be anonymous for their sake, just in case of any. Well, I guess there's a name on it, so get exposed. I don't know.
No, you're not anonymous. You're not anonymous. Sorry,
guys.
You got lied to. All right, we're going to West Wolf Omen. So I think that's the first link in the thing.
Yeah.
So Outlaws,
Houston Justice.
Houston
okay.
Justice, fine.
Collides Atlanta Justice. Okay.
Do you really think that Atlanta is draft? Because they draft, right? So Atlanta drafts Houston instead of Washington.
See, that's the tough thing is that like
the drafts I think are far easier to like pick apart, right?
Yeah.
No, I think the drafts are super hard.
No, I mean like
Yeah.
to find something wrong with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I also like wouldn't like attack anybody on it just because it is like just
Gave the decay factor, fair enough.
Yeah, that type of thing where it's just like, okay, I could see where you're coming from. And then round 3, Philly, Florida, San Fran, Paris, all understandable. Round 4, Philly, San Fran over Florida, Paris. Okay.
Philly over San Francisco in round 5.
Can you scroll down to the lower bracket as well, just so you get to see that?
No.
Collides Atlanta.
No, I can't. Let me see if I can just resize this.
Atlanta over Florida.
Atlanta over Florida is spicy.
Not a pick I would make.
That's not what I wanted.
But
sorry, chat.
There again. Meta is a
hold
crazy.
Hold on.
SOB.
There we go.
Atlanta making it to losers finals. Pretty crazy. I don't know.
You guys can see
S Priest Azerite traits.
Yep.
I
my Shadow Priest Azerite traits.
Right.
There we go.
There we go.
Boom. There's everything.
There we go. Okay,
I mean,
so
I don't hate it.
Then down there, Gladiators over Valiant. I mean, yeah.
I mean, see, the thing is like it's tough. Like, do we want to talk about what you posted this week and kind of talking about the meta and maybe like using that to help pick this apart?
Sure.
So, were we right? Were we wrong? Is it all hog and ball torture, or are we going to see some semblance of normal coming in this weekend?
Okay, so I have huge roles in that one. There's like teams definitely, and I will not give you any specifics, of course, because truth be told, in the preseason, I already made a pretty huge error in the Scriptbox Stock Exchange that gave away one team's
oh really?
Like, I think off tank
choice or
whatever that they tried to keep a secret. Their opponents knew, which was fortunate, but not doing that again. There are teams playing Hog Zarya and Hog Diva. Of course, not on all maps. There's a bunch of dive, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Dive is a wide concept, though.
Is Zarya Winston really dive?
Your mom's a wide concept.
I mean, it's ball Zarya dive and these things, right? Like, that's hard to answer. It's also very good to hide behind without having to say anything definitive. So, I think there's a good chance that by the end of next week, we will probably see something that isn't as much Hog and Zarya as it seems right now.
I think so.
But it's also very clearly the case that teams have been playing to their strength. Keep in mind, my information was like from Sunday, Monday, and everything can change, converge very quickly. Like, once again, the top virus theory, where it's just like one team just claps everyone and then everyone changes because they're doing that. And
one team finds the flowchart at beating Hog and Ball or Hog and Zarya or Hog and Diva, and then everybody stops running it on the few maps that, seemingly can be run on exclusively, which is the kind of vibe I got from your article, was that there are certain maps where you can exclusively run it, and then there are points where you can like show it as a strategy, but then immediately have to kind of adapt if it doesn't work because of how quickly it can kind of be steamrolled. So it's it seems like we had a good idea on what exactly was going to be played. Obviously, Platchat coming out saying that like Tracer Ashe still might be viable, Winston Sombra being the kind of de facto like average across all the games, probably what you're going to see. And then obviously Hog and Zarya, Hog and D.Va being available, which is surprising. Still, I'm very interested to see what some of these games look like, especially once we get out of like play-ins, where it's like, okay, could you run Hog and D.Va into a team like the Vancouver Titans or like the Washington Justice? I'm like, yeah, maybe like they're just so uncoordinated that they can't punish it properly. But even then, it's pretty surprising. But with that in mind, now that we have like the kind of framework laid out in front of us, do any of these picks really kind of stand out to you, knowing that you have a style like very scrimmy, kind of chaotic Hog, D.Va, Hog, Zarya is on the table, knowing that Tracer Ashe is on the table, knowing that Winston Sombra is available and seems to be quite strong?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, to a degree, it's really unsatisfying that I cannot disclose that information. But like, there's definitely insight towards these bracket points where it's like, okay, here I know what both teams are running, and then we can extrapolate which ones are going to win. So yeah, I don't know. Like, we'll see. I think the good information is the following, and that was also sort of the conclusion of it all, right? This meta will be pretty interesting in terms of, like, if we keep it just like it was, we will see a lot of variety. Based on the Monte Carlo simulations that I plugged my elos in based on the evaluation that I had, and plugged it into Eric's Monte Carlo simulation, ran that 10,000 times, and it seemed to me that, like, of course, based on the season rankings and the awarded advantages. So, for instance, like the top 5 teams being seeded into the later stages of the bracket, that's a bit massive advantage, right? But like that the season rankings mattered, and that even a likely strength in this meta is not going to bring about like a massive change where it's like now it's like no team from the lower ranks look to be like the super dark horses, where it's like they're coming from
so you're
from
saying
18th
like,
and
there's not
just
gonna be
running it through. Yeah. I don't think. And if it happens, the higher likelihood is in Asia, because the bracket is shorter, and so these teams would have to hit the jackpot less
amount of time,
right?
Yeah.
And also opponents would have less time to prepare for their respective strategy, because it would probably come off a curveball. So there, the possibility is maybe higher. But overall,
if there ever was a bracket to win for Chengdu, it would be Asia. Is that what you're telling me? You telling me there's hope?
Are we doing that again? Are you going back to Chengdu, Bob? Is that what's happening?
I think they do have a good shot. We'll get to them when we talk about the Asia teams, but yeah, we'll save that.
Right.
I think for West Wolf Omen, to kind of bring it back, my big thing is like losers round 4. Florida over Atlanta is a big contentious point for me.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher.
Other than that, I don't see a ton.
You mean Atlanta over Florida?
Yeah.
For those listening via audio.
That one's a little spicy. I really have a hard time.
I think that's the spiciest one.
At least in NA. I haven't looked at Asia yet.
Yeah, let's go to Asia. We're going to do this one a little bit faster. We can just keep talking about these themes through these other brackets as well. So let's go to Asia side. So Chengdu over London, which I'm seeing a lot. I don't hate. I mean, Joe, don't you have Chengdu over London?
It's not. It has nothing to do with Chengdu London. It has everything to do with the rest of the bracket.
Oh, okay. Seoul over NYXL, Chengdu over Hangzhou. Oh, Jesus.
I mean, okay.
Shanghai over Chengdu, Seoul over Guangzhou, Chengdu over Guangzhou, Seoul over Chengdu, Shanghai over Seoul, and
Seoul is
Seoul
seed
and
2.
Shanghai going to the grand finals.
Interesting.
Listen, I've gone to bat for Seoul in the playoffs before.
Mm-hmm.
It is not this day. It is not this day. But
yeah, that one's a shot in
I
the dark.
appreciate the attempt.
I just don't see it. If they manage to pull it off, that would be my London-esque. Like, it would have to be a meta that Seoul just vibes with. They just understand immediately. They can get off early when it comes to like practicing for the meta. They've kind of not mastered it, but have a good feeling for it early in the week, and then can kind of come into the not the play-ins, but round 2 and do extremely well versus New York. I mean, again, I wouldn't say that it's not going to happen. It's not something I'd bet on though. I wouldn't bet on most teams right now, just because of how crazy the season has been, how crazy this patch will be.
Mm-hmm.
It very well could happen. I just don't. I don't like it. I'm getting claimy. I don't like it. It's sweaty.
Let's take a look at grand finals then. So we have Philly over Seoul, Shanghai over San Francisco, and then Shanghai over Philly to go to the grand finals. And then we have Shock over Dynasty, Shock over Philly, and then the Dragons over the Shock in the grand finals, 4-3.
So just off of looking at our brackets, and have you posted yours, John?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Just looking at everybody's, yes, that's right, because you had something similar. I wonder how many people are like siding with the Asia teams. They're siding with Shanghai going into the grand finals. I wonder if that's just like not a commonality, but like this common thread through a lot of the brackets where it's like
or winning the grand finals.
Winning.
Yeah, I have
a lot of the brackets I've seen so far.
Shock in 7.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see why. I have my reasons, but I'm interested if like people are thinking the same way in regards to Shanghai in the grands. But I'm for it either way. Like if we get 7 games in the grand finals, I'd be happy either which way it goes, because our finals each year seem to be pretty trash. Pretty poop.
We're going on to Trash Labras.
Okay, is that number 2?
Number 2. Let's see. Justice over Atlanta. He's all in. They are all in.
I mean, I'm not mad at it.
Whatever, you buy into the decay hype like that. That's one of the more easy storylines to get right. Like if you're talking about taking chances.
I mean, that's like kind of the only spicy one in
Philly, Shanghai. I think everything else is pretty straightforward.
Checks out.
The thing is, like, do people think that these teams think that Houston's the best team? Because based on that, Houston is the last picked, right?
Yeah, I think that most, well, I wouldn't say most. I think it's understandable to put them as the last pick team, or like a strong contender, because of how flexible that team can be and how many like strong weapons they'll have going into this. I mean, they don't have a strong Winston, but the flexibility that hydration brings, Ash, Widow potential with Linkser, Dante obviously on Sombra, anything else that they want to kind of run, like especially early in the bracket, like if they can get away with a Blase Doomfist on certain maps, that'd be kind of interesting. They have a lot of like interesting weapons that they've built up over the season, so I can see them being like a pretty like potent dark horse if left to their own devices, like if the meta isn't like established by like round 3, like I can see them like doing some damage to some teams. So I think they are kind of like a wild card where it's like, I know what I'm going to get when I draft Justice. I know what I'm going to get when I draft Defiant. Houston is a little bit more wily in that sense, at least in my opinion.
We keep calling for Houston to turn it on.
Yeah, they're due for one. I'd love for them to see like a decent playoff run. Like if there was ever a time to get it together, it'd be now. I think this is
onto
a nice hole for them.
Yeah. On to Asia. Chengdu over London, NYXL over Chengdu, Seoul, Shanghai.
Yeah, I don't hate this.
I like NYXL going. I like NYXL in Shanghai.
I mean, I'm not mad at NYXL going, especially if they win early. Like if they come out guns blazing and they look good, then yeah, I'm not mad about it. They'd certainly have the potential. Like talk about weapons on a roster. Like this team has an arsenal. I just don't see it across the entirety of the season. Like if we're going to talk about inconsistencies, I think New York is like Mr. Inconsistent. But that doesn't mean that they can't just hit a spike here. Yeah, I like this one better. I like this one better than Seoul. Like I'd be willing to bet on a New York way more than I would be willing to bet on a Seoul seed 2. So
grand finals. All right. Oh, all right. So
hey, now
we're getting spicy here. So NYXL over Fusion, Shanghai over Shock, Shanghai over NYXL. Losers bracket: Fusion over Shock, NYXL over Fusion, and then Dragons and NYXL in the grand finals, with Dragons taking it 4-1.
Libero Flex God gonna show up big, says Trash Lapras.
Let's go.
I mean, you're speaking to the choir, but
I'll give you the clap. I respect the pick. That's fine.
That's some spice. This is a bracket that I think is the ideal if you're looking for a win. Like if you're trying to win,
this is the win. Not get the most.
This is the win.
You're not going for the 95%. You're going for 100.
Yeah, you're not trying
100.
to play the odds. You're like, this is how I feel. This is the vibe I'm getting. I'm choosing the gut. I think New York is going to be silver medalist this year. Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. I mean, I'm for it. Like if they make a run, I'd be for it. I'm disappointed that the finals are 4-1 if that's the case. I think we're due for like a important final that isn't just like a monthly kind of cup or like a stage. I think we need like a good grand final to kind of like put a stamp on Overwatch, or at least this year.
Let's go on to Hoagies. Hoagies number 3.
My favorite little
Imposter King.
I'm eating chips.
Not a single upset in the entire bracket for NA.
Man.
The only thing I'm worried about is like how he drafted his teams.
His round twos.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works.
Oh yeah, round.
I don't know.
Yeah, the round
two. I'm like, does Glance pick Justice? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. I think Glad's most certainly is going to end up with Defiant.
This is just the optimal bracket pick where the not quite. Okay.
As far as the winners go, I think it is.
No, like in terms of picks, right? Like everything is.
They've got Gladiators over Mayhem. I think is the only upset.
I mean, that's the upset, and also saying that Florida would pick Gladiators over Rain.
Yeah,
is interesting, both in seeding and actual performance.
I have a feeling he was maybe eating his favorite snack food while making the bracket. If I had to guess.
Yeah. And then, okay, Atlanta down there. I mean,
I'm not mad at any of this. Yeah, I could nitpick, but it's fine.
The Atlanta storyline is one that I am not willing to buy into. I would
No,
much rather the Washington Justice make a run with DK.
Yep.
The Valiant, you have Coach Packing there,
sure,
kind of
you could throw that.
Whatever.
Yep. Could throw that in. I think you can make a stab at Glads. I just do not see Atlanta like they have sown no seeds this season that make me want to believe or make me feel like there is a semblance of believing that they could make a stab at this playoff run. I don't know that you could name me a meta game where I'm like, oh, Atlanta's a top 5 team. They feel so vanilla bean.
Sorry, we need to clarify here because Chest's not understanding. When we say that Florida draft the Gladiators, they're not drafting the Gladiators. They're fourth. They're the 4th seed. So they're not drafting them. But the fact that the Gladiators are what's left over is not likely.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not likely.
NA seems fine.
Asia. Let's go to Asia. London over Chengdu, first one. Then we have NYXL and Seoul. Shanghai, NYXL, Shanghai. Yeah, I think this is pretty.
Grains.
Y'all think Rain is scarier than Glads?
No. I think Rain's poop.
I don't know. That's a hole.
I think Rain's big turds.
But I tend to agree.
Come on.
Every time I've given Rain,
what do they do?
Every time I've respected,
give me a world.
I don't know why we keep saying to respect the Rain. Have we given?
They're fine.
Have we given a good reason
yeah.
to respect?
Yeah, they're a fine team. Like they're gonna beat up on the Boston Uprisings, the Vancouver Titans. Like maybe they beat the Houston Outlaws and then they lose in round 2. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. They're not that far away, are they?
I think so. What? Like they beat Dallas? Sure. Do they beat Florida? No. Do they beat Valiant? Not consistently.
Maybe.
I mean, sure. Like I take a dice roll on that, but like, what's another team that they beat? Glads?
Yeah.
Maybe. Dice roll. Like I don't think that you or I are both confident on that. That's what I'm saying. It's just like it's a dice roll. Sure. It's just like maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. There's not even like a meta you could come up with that makes you more confident in that. Is there? I mean, obviously I'm putting you on the spot, so like this isn't something
I haven't thought about this.
Torched you for, but it's just like I can see a meta where Valiant does really well.
Yeah.
And like just beats the dice roll, has weighted dice playing this game, where I don't have that feeling for Atlanta. Yeah. Similarly with Glads.
No, I'm not mad at that. I still think this team has an inherent cap that shouldn't be underestimated, and theoretically the cap, like especially with Iris like setting in,
sure.
Then like
I think they have an incredibly high potential.
They didn't have the time.
That's all they have though is potential.
Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah,
the whole season, going into the season, what was the big narrative with Atlanta? Look at all the crazy talent they have on this roster, and they've done nothing with it all season long.
Sure.
Or I mean, okay, maybe that paints people in.
I mean, they're negative in score. It's fair, right? But like, yeah, I don't know.
Like, they haven't done anything. It's just there's nothing exciting about this team. There's no hopeful little thing that you could hold on to and say, well, they did perform here, so like maybe if it was this meta where they had this upset, maybe they could find something to land there. This is the consistent team of the league. They beat the teams they're supposed to, and they lose to everybody else.
Like just in August, they took Paris to map 5. Okay, they kind of lost to Titans, which is a big yikers. But then they also took Shock to map 5.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams, right, had said though in August, like, these matches don't really matter. We're gearing up for playoffs. Like, we're giving players extra breaks. Like, we're locked. We're good.
I think there were certain teams that were still like
Toronto
playing.
Not saying that they weren't trying
up to there.
But
you look at a team like Paris, it's like, why is Soon starting? So like, I think these last few weeks definitely, for me at least, have like a big asterisk on them into saying like, okay, like you might say that you're still like trying and competing, but like, are you really though? Like, I don't know. This doesn't seem like the best performance from this team I've seen all season.
I want to go into, so the final grand finals bracket is Shanghai over San Francisco Shock 4-2, and I think the bracket is overall pretty straightforward.
Overall, I think it's a pretty fair one.
Let's go to ours now. Spend a little time. We can actually pick apart ours a little bit. By the way, did you see? So they announced today Overwatch League pros compete for sneaker bonuses throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, what is that?
So
what is sneaker bonuses? Yeah.
So here it is, right? Overwatch League pros can finally get their kicks on Route 66. Playing for the league championship and a share of a $4 million prize pool is amazing, but so is a great pair of sneakers. Throughout all playoff matches, players will also be competing for sneaker bonuses, stats-based achievements that reward players with fresh, new kicks. For each achievement reached, players will be notified they've qualified for a sneaker bonus. They will then coordinate directly with the staff at the world-renowned sneaker boutique Bait to select their preferred pair from its online shops. We've set achievements for players to chase across all 3 roles. Below are the thresholds for each achievement and how many players can win each category. All roles. Fleta deadlift. Player accounts for 50% or more of team's eliminations at a map. Their team wins. First 2 players to achieve in a map. Tanks and support. 3+ environmental kills from a single ability or ultimate used. First 2 players. Fewest deaths per 10 minutes. Top 2 players based on cumulative performance. Damage. Final blows per 10 minutes. Top 2 players. Eliminations per 10 minutes. Top 2 players. Objective kills per 10 minutes. Top 2 players. Negate 2 or more ultimates in a map. First 3 players. Reinhardt Earthshatter hitting 5 or more opponents. First 3. Assists per 10 minutes. Top 2. And lead the team in damage on a map. First 2. So that last one is support. So there's a damage, a tank, and a support. So damage is final blows and eliminations. Tank is objective kills, negate ultimates, and Reinhardt shatter. Remember
So
having
real
Reinhardt
fast.
there. And supports assists per 10 and lead the team in damage on a map.
John, what is this? You're the person I trust the most when it comes to like marketing and like business acumen. What does this do for me as a viewer? Spin this for me, because couldn't care less.
You want to spin? So the spin of it is this.
Spin me like. First give me your opinion on like what this is supposed to be, and then spin it for me, because I'm like, does anybody care?
I think so.
Does anybody care about the pros winning shoes?
Do the pros care about winning shoes?
Look, dude, I think what you can do is when it happens, you have a little wow-like achievement unlocked,
Sure.
pop, and then
I want to get to that. I like, okay, to be fair and to lay out my kind of context and criticism and applause here, I think this is like an admittance of or a growth phase or a growth step for the league, and saying like, okay, like we're getting a little bit more, we're getting closer with what the people actually want. Like we're looking at our viewers, we're looking at our demo and saying like, okay, like shoes are in, like let's target shoes. I think the execution is just completely left of center.
Want to hear my thoughts?
My opinion.
So
Yes,
first of all,
please.
I don't know what the shoes are. Like, show me the shoes. What are they supposed to look like? What kind of shoes are they choosing for? Number 1. Number 2, if somebody is able to win shoes and they're customized, I, as a fan and viewer, should be able to buy those same shoes.
Exactly.
So from that perspective, now, is this a carrot for players to play better or try harder or whatever?
Hell nah.
No.
In fact, it's kind of dangerous too. Like, imagine if it was $100,000.
Sure.
It's anti-competitive.
You want people tossing money or tossing games to score some sick kicks? Like, come on.
So, like, at a point, I look at this and I go, like, how do you disincentivize, or like, how do you make sure that competition is the forefront, but while still having a mini game and a cool type of whatever. I mean, we have it like I think isn't it in the Super Bowl or whatever? Like the MVP wins cars and blah blah blah.
Sure, like I'd love to have like the T-Mobile MVP, link up with what's the company, Bates or whatever. Like, and they're going to design them their own custom shoe that will be, dropped in a limited release for, people to buy. Like, whoa, wouldn't that be sick? You get a Fleta, I don't know, Air Force One. I think that's the shoe that like League of Legends is designing right now. They have like their own like world championship shoe that you can buy in stores now, where it's like, okay, you see where both companies are going. They're like, okay, sneakers are in, like the sneaker culture is like very alive right now, and it's right in line with our demographic. One company hit it and kind of like makes sense. The other one's like, hey, we're gonna give them to our players, and that's it. Isn't that exciting?
I don't think that this is it.
This is
You're a
it's
bolder
closer.
man than I am.
It's closer.
I would never type into my browser.
I like the feeling. I like the idea around like targeting sneakerheads and like trying to get into like brand apparel and stuff like that. And I'm not the person to ask or like even talk on this, but it seems like a swing and a miss.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of
swing and a miss.
There's a lot of room there. No, I think this actually, like, looking at the culture of Overwatch League players, especially, I think that vibes with them.
Sure, I'm sure they're not mad at it. Like,
they're wearing butt ugly $600 Balenciaga, so I'm sure they can do better.
Sure, and I agree, Banter Life, it's better than no swing. I applaud the league for trying. I applaud the league for like finding that through line with the demos. I'm just like, okay,
I kind of like
execution and follow through.
Like
it's just follow through. It's just like, I'm sorry, like this is where you take a great idea and you fall flat on execution. I have a blog post with no pictures. I don't even have a link to Bait. I don't even have a link to their website. I don't even know. I went and I typed in Bait shoes. Standard. I typed in Bait shoes, and guess where I got? Like this boutique brand in San Francisco that does like women's shoes. So there's the first issue right there. Like, show me some of the cool stuff. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, this should not be a blog post. This should be a video. This should also be a video on social media. This should be something that was being retweeted out by every team participating. There's no follow-up or execution there. Number three, how are we going to see and track this throughout the playoffs? Yep. So what does that look like to the viewer at the end of the day?
I'd love like a little achievement unlocked, Jonax won a pair of shoes. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, throw it up next to the kill feed or whatever. Like, just whatever. Like, there's like really cool ways to do that or pop.
100%.
But here's what it's actually going to be. The awesome stat trackers are going to track these different things. Once a column goes green, they're going to tell the producers. And then at halftime, Frankie is going to be like, and so-and-so won a pair of shoes.
Yep.
And they're going to work with our tournament admins to figure out which ones they get.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't like, oh, time for Tactical Crouch to just beat the Blizzard pinata. No. Like, we want this to be sick. This is a good idea. It just needs to be workshopped a little bit more than just like, oh, you guys want to do the Overwatch League? Cool. Let's just toss you in there with the rest of the sponsors and we'll figure it out later. It just seems rushed. It seems like the execution, like John said, just falls flat.
Great idea
though. Is there though? Yes, it's so close, but I think it's going to be a miss.
Just execute, guys. Come
on.
Very close.
I don't know. It could be dope. We gotta wait how it will be done.
Hopefully, I'll be again. I want to be proven
all it takes is one major payoff to do that. That still won't change any of my criticism, though. That you don't. One major payoff is in spite of the poor execution and planning, not because of. And that's what kind of drives me nuts about these things. Like, somebody has to be like for anybody on my team where they're like, all right, I have an idea for this. I go, sweet, build me a brief. Let's go. I want screenshots. I want follow through. I want times. I want dates.
Oh, okay. So I'm just reading this. Like if they really just pick up sneakers and they even don't even get to customize anything about them
Yeah, it's just
or
pair of
get
shoes,
their
bro.
number.
No.
Yeah, this
Just
is
pair of
So to
pretty
be
shoes.
trash,
fair,
not
like,
gonna lie.
so to be fair, I don't think that that's it. I don't think that that's it
I'd
because
hope not.
it's a sneaker apparel, or it's a sneaker company that does custom sneakers.
Oh, okay.
So from what I can tell, like they've done all sorts of different collaborations. They don't sell bait shoes. They sell Nike shoes that are augmented by
Oh,
bait.
that are gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So they can pick their butt ugly Balenciagas if they
Balenciagas.
want.
And have
So
'em
like, yeah.
Ah, well, okay.
So
Right.
I don't think that's it. But again, that's a problem in execution. Why is that not? Why does it not go like? Why haven't they made a mock-up of a pair
Sure.
of Prophet sneakers?
Yep.
Like, this is what they could be getting, or you put Crusher 99 on them, whatever, like whatever you need to do to just like an
Sure.
example, an idea, visualize it. Oh, that's sick.
Whatever happened to that? Crusher 99. Anybody remember Crusher 99 in chat?
Crusher 99. Let's go.
Oof.
All right. Anyways, that happened. Let's talk about our brackets.
Yes. Let's go.
We're going to mine. Roast away. I don't think I'm.
I like yours more than I like anybody so far, just because I appreciate the grand finals. We'll get to that.
I don't think I have anything super surprising on this one.
I like the picks in round 2. I like most everything in round 3. Atlanta over Glads. I think it's a dice
I think
roll.
that was
but
kind of one of those that I wasn't super.
can't
I also
really
did this right
get
before
you
the
on
show.
that.
Chat watched me. Chat watched me do it.
NA's fair. Asia, Chengdu, I think is probably favored. New York, Chengdu, Hangzhou over Spark. I think that's a dice roll.
I mean, the New York is just like
New York's a little spicy.
Let's go. Why not?
this man loves
Why not?
or must love hot bar hog. That's if that's even a thing.
It's possible.
You gotta believe in the Hogba.
Hogba.
Ugh. I don't know.
I mean, there's a world, but I don't know. Not the world I foresee.
Cool. And then grand finals.
San Fran, New York, Shanghai, Philly, New York, Philly,
No way.
San Francisco both times. Okay.
Yo, you really played to that NYXL spiel, didn't you?
New
Being
York over
Philly?
Philly.
Yeah.
That one's tough.
Right.
And where again, it's like
NYXL can beat any team on any day. Any team. Any team on any
So
day.
can Soul.
nah.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna,
you gotta
I'm have to stop you
you
there.
gotta have the soul juice. You gotta you have to have the soul. The soul stone.
You gotta have the soul.
You gotta have the soul. You gotta feel it.
Yeah.
It's just you
Just
can't.
saying,
It's just not
Soul
it.
had higher peaks this season than NYXL.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Yeah.
It's
I
profit in playoffs.
Does not matter.
Device is hooked up.
Huxall,
Does not matter.
Libero, Mono.
NYXL
NA.
was definitely the only edginess I'm willing to go on this one.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's fair.
I don't even care.
I like the finals though. If we get that final, I'll pay you money.
All right. You'll buy my
That would be
30-90.
fantastic.
Got it.
Oof. Okay. No, let's come on. I was talking maybe like
You could
a
buy me a case.
maybe
of
like a
beer, yeah.
Chipotle order or
Yeah.
something. You know,
Yeah.
I'll toss you I'll throw some money in a pool for you.
No,
buy you some
30-90,
scratch offs,
thanks.
but okay.
Just kidding. All right. That's mine. Let's go on to the next one. We're going to Yiska's second.
See the
Shoot.
boys. Titans over Justice. Titans over Fuel. I'm not bad at it, but
He believes. I actually appreciate it. The more I think
that's a
about
toss.
The Church of Lobby.
The Church of Lubby. The rest of it seems to check out though. Nothing super spicy. Yeah, I don't know. That's the only one that I'd really fight. I'd is like Vancouver over Justice probably will be a better game than whoever wins that versus the Fuel. Would we be willing to say that?
Probably, yeah.
Like, I think both of those teams actually look halfway decent, and Fuel have shown positive signs. I've been like a hopeful for the Fuel coming into playoffs, but that's all it is potential. Like they look okay on certain things, and then like if you can put Crimson on Ana exclusively, then fantastic. But having, well, I mean, Domsu off of Ryan would be good. I don't know. Not super big on Dallas right now. Dallas's chances. I'm much more willing to give like Titans and Justice a shout. Not too far in the bracket, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Dallas, not bueno.
Asia?
We go to Asia. You're not even sending Chengdu to the losers bracket? Come on, bruh.
Hell no.
Come on, bruh.
Wait, what do you mean? Yeah,
I mean, you put them so you have them losing so shallow in the bracket that they won't even make losers. I don't even know if I have them making losers.
Yeah.
Chengdu over
Might
London,
as well have just gone with
that's
NYXL
fair.
over Guangzhou, dude, and we would have had the same bracket. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Might as well.
I also didn't see what happened.
Might as well.
Nah.
Might as well.
Do you think Shanghai Guangzhou will be a close game in the finals?
I'm not playing.
Yeah, they're not playing.
Oh, true. That's right. That's like the only game I actually want to see out of Asia. I could not give two poops about round 3.
Really? I think Asia is actually kind of exciting just because every team could just like flip the Papega
You
switch
never know.
and
Yeah,
just
you never,
like
you
be
just
good.
Never know. You never know.
Maybe. I'm hoping. I hope that's the case because I look at Shanghai, I look at Seoul. I feel like that's not worth watching. I look at Guangzhou, I look at New York. I'm like, maybe.
Asia Overwatch is like Asia patent law. You just never know what's going to happen. And it's the rules are largely ignored.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Grand finals.
I hope Asia's good, but gun shy. Grand finals. San Fran, Guangzhou, Dragons Fusion. Okay. Philly knocks out
really
Charge.
went on this one, huh?
Shanghai beats Shock, and then Philly knocks out Shock.
I will say this, Yiska, I'm calling you out right now. You have a recency bias
Against what?
Christopher.
with
Yeah,
coaches and
spicy,
players that you interview.
I mean, that
I
is the
swear
case.
to God,
also,
it's directly correlated. Within
it
2
is.
weeks, you
It is.
always pick that team to win.
It's hard not
I mean,
to,
it's-
though, to be
okay.
fair.
It is hard. We've had a lot of
It's
people on there.
possible.
I mean, Albert coming on the show, Packing come on the show. I'm like, all right, let's go Valiant.
It's possible, but I think Chuck will get that comeuppance.
I don't know.
And
I'm excited to see them
That
play. Like,
statement
I'd
will
love
make
to
more
see them
sense.
play 3 times.
sorry?
I'd love to see these two teams play each other 3 times throughout the
Yeah.
entirety of playoffs. Like, I'd love to see them play winners round 5. I'd love to see them play. Well, I guess they won't play 3 times. They'll play twice because NA and Asia aren't playing the seeds out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as many, like, I'd
They
love
could.
maximizing the games. Theoretically, I
That's
think there is
true,
a world
right.
where they could, but
Yeah.
it
works.
the more games like that, the
Wait,
better,
no.
because there's like a through line. There's like drama there that people want to see, like, mined out, like a little gold mine, right? I think people want to see them play a best of 100. So the more games of those, more matches like that would be ideal. Seeing Shock knocked out. I mean, are we mad at Shock being taking home 3rd place? Is that like disappointing?
If what?
As a whole? If Shock was to take home 3rd place, so like looking at your bracket, you have Shanghai winning, you have Philly taking 2nd, and you have the San Francisco Shock taking 3rd. Is that disappointing?
Anything that isn't a win is disappointing for the Shock.
I mean, is that to the Shock, or is that in your eyes?
like in general for you, Yiska, is
For you, in your
the Shock
opinion,
losing to Shanghai, or not? Yeah, losing to Shanghai and then not rematching in the finals.
Those are two great teams.
Mhm.
The only thing is that that you could argue that Philly hasn't demonstrated like to be able to win a tournament, but I don't know. I just think there are good reasons to believe that that Philly just is more on solid foundation.
Sure. I mean, I think that's
to find
that's
more
very
about
fair.
those reasons. Check out Yiska's article on GG Recon.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about it sadly, but more will be explained in the future.
Oh wait, was that not posted today?
No.
The interview is what he's saying is
I
the
can't
information
talk about
he's alluding to is not.
No. I was just joking about.
Yeah.
Right.
So like to get back to the question, like would you say that San Francisco is a disappointment? Their season was a disappointment if they placed third.
If they place third, yes. If they place second, no.
Okay. What if they don't? Well, I think that would be kind of a bait.
So let's do this. I think just about everybody out of your. So I'm going to save this question until after we go through Joe your bracket. Let's go through your bracket really quick. North America. Sure. Okay.
I think mine's that spicy.
Okay. No.
Oh, I do have Chengdu going kind of deep.
Okay. Let's roast the boy.
Not super deep. At least they make
on NA or Asia. Where are you at? Yes.
Asia. Oh,
right.
Sorry.
All right.
NA's boring. I
think NA is totally fine.
What you'd expect.
I respect Valiant over Rain. That's cool.
There's nothing.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything.
No, everything else is fine.
So in Asia.
This is where things might get a little spicy. Chengdu
round two, I
over
don't
Spark
mind.
is just it. Like that's the only
round two you don't mind, but do you mind round three? Round three. Okay, so for audio listeners, I have Chengdu beating London.
No, this all.
I have
good.
New York beating Seoul. I have the Spark losing to the Hunters. So that puts Hunters into losers bracket range.
Mm-hmm.
Where they unfortunately lose to the Dragons and then lose to New York. That was a tough call. I think that's like a close-ish game. I think like if it's going to be as messy as what we're hearing, where Nero's coming out and saying like y'all aren't ready, and if maybe it's completely divorced from like the information that we're getting from Plat Chat and from Yiska, maybe they go a little deeper.
Here's the thing though, like the only thing that kind of throws me off in your bracket is that New York assumes Seoul is the easier team than
I don't think you want to pick.
Hunters.
I don't think you want Chengdu. Chengdu's a wild. That's a
Seoul.
wild.
This is play of Seoul, dude.
I don't think you want either team, right? Like if you could have an easier team, you'd pick them, but I don't think you want to take the horse that could just run the opposite direction. Like you might
That's
just
Seoul,
catch.
though.
No.
Yeah.
No. I think you can expect Seoul and know what they're going to do. They just might overperform. You have no clue.
Oh,
what the
you
Hunters
mean it
are
that
bring to
way?
the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't prepare for the Hunters. So that makes them so difficult to be able to kind of like draft for or pick for. I'd be willing to take a Seoul Dynasty that has shown their hand all season, has been a little inconsistent all season. Maybe they get that playoff buff. Maybe they get that profit steroid injection, right? Maybe they're juicing a little bit. At least I know what to prepare for.
Showing your hand all season and just like that not being the same hand all the time is just like, I couldn't think of a good metaphor here.
I'm not even sure where you were headed with that.
Like, Seoul had by far of these teams the highest peaks. It's very like they should have won the stage final.
100%. I agree. They should have. I think
I'm saying stage final. I mean tournament, of course. But
yeah, tournament final. I think, I'd agree. Out of most of the teams coming into round 2, being Chengdu, London, or Seoul, or Spark, to be fair. They're the closest to like making a dark horse run. But if the question is who does New York pick, Chengdu or Seoul, I take Seoul. I take that risk and say, okay, they might be able to perform up to my standard. Maybe they exceeded a little bit, but at least I know what I'm getting.
It's possible. I just think like there's also something in those players that just like they probably are shooketh about the possibility of like the London core in finals.
It's disappointing too, because I do think London has like a decent core. It's hard to bet against Chengdu with how like open the meta seems to be. And I'm going to make an assumption and say a lot of the information that we're hearing from a lot of the pundits, yourself included, Yiska, is coming from like NA side of things. I can only imagine, or rather I can't imagine what the Pacific meta looks like. And then I try to plug Chengdu Hunters into that. Bro, I have not a clue. They might just play Ameng on Pharah. I have no idea, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're in the wrong.
They could do some crazy stuff. So if you're a team and you have the opportunity to pick between a team that might make a dark horse run or a team that might just play their main tank on Hog the entire game, what do you choose?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was at least my rationale.
Yeah. I still think like Seoul is scary, but
it's fair. I think they're scary too.
Yeah.
Last question before we get out of here. Ready?
Shoot.
Shanghai, San Francisco Shock, Philadelphia Fusion, NYXL, Guangzhou Charge. 2 of these teams do not make it to the finals bracket. Which 2 do not make it?
You're going to have to list those again.
Basically, all the 1 and 2 seeds plus NYXL. So Shanghai, Guangzhou,
Shanghai,
San Francisco
Guangzhou,
Shock,
San
Philadelphia
Francisco,
Fusion,
Philly, and New York.
and NYXL.
Yeah, New York.
And you're picking 2 teams who don't make it.
That don't make it.
But then you would only have 3 teams left.
I wonder which one of the other 17 teams might make it.
So he's asking you.
I'm not saying who's going. They're going to obviously be replaced by a different team.
Just pick 2 teams, you moron.
Which of those teams get upset and don't make it to the finals bracket?
New York for sure.
I understand.
You Pepegas! It's 5 teams. Only one has to go. The final bracket has 4
You're
teams.
such an idiot.
I know.
You're the dumbest person I've ever met.
I don't know where he's going with it either, but I'm just answering the question.
So it doesn't matter what other teams you think. Which of those teams that he's listed are the 2 weakest?
So
pick your final 4 teams, and you only can choose 3 of those 5.
Yes. Why?
Shanghai, New York, Shanghai, Shock, and Philly. Very easy.
So you think NYXL,
Guangzhou and New York.
Guangzhou and New York, but it's kind of weird because you have to have 2 from Asia. So who comes instead then? So Seoul.
So now he's asking, who's the team that you would put in as Asia's 2nd seed if you can't pick Guangzhou or New York?
Since you said that they didn't make it, so
right. Just.
God, I don't.
I'm not sure either.
Guys, that doesn't work the way you think it does.
Of course it does.
I would say Guangzhou.
Yeah, do that.
I'm progressively getting more confused.
The fundamental idea behind this question is we have to assume that all the 1 and 2. We don't have to assume, but if Overwatch in the past is anything that we've seen this season, is that all the 1s and 2s are not actually going to make it to the finals. So who's most likely not? So I grabbed all of our 1s and 2s.
Okay.
Right.
And I said 2 of them aren't going to make it. Which ones?
Okay, if 2 of them would make it, then I I say Shanghai make it, Shock make it, and then if the twos don't make it, it would be NYXL and it would be.
Oh, I wish we could
Paris.
spend more time on this. Is Paris a 2 seed?
No, they are not. That's the point.
Oh, so you're saying you're sending Paris? Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. See, I think differently. I think it's Shock. If I had to pick, I see a lot of holes for Shock. And if their like history is to be, and if I had to pick out of the 1 and 2 seeds, they might be the ones to not make it. It could be hubris. It could be them adapting slowly to the meta, not having the time to sit there and refine it, as we know that they can. And I struggle with the flexibility argument because they have 2 very talented main tanks. We've seen Super do well on off rolls. We hear that Super is very good at off rolls. Yeah. I'm not super bought into the whole, Philly's just going to choke motif. I look at Shock and say, okay, you've won a tournament, you've won a championship. Do you still want it?
Well,
I think there's a lot of cards. Yeah, now they can get shoes.
They can get.
That
shoes.
would be my team. I don't know if Shock
Interesting.
makes it. If I had to pick. If I don't, I still think they make it. But if the next question is who do you send instead? Yeah, I'd say Paris. Philly, Paris. Maybe Paris makes an upset early in the bracket, knocks San Francisco down. San Fran like suffers another loss, takes an early exit. I think that's the only way you can see Shock losing is like early. You got to get them out early. Like round 1, round 2, and losers, bye. Like championships are dead, or champions rather. So
Can I ask a quick question to Joe? I'd
Sure.
love to hear that.
Huh?
You can't pick a top 4 NA team.
Okay.
Which team of the remaining NA teams is the most likely to win the Overwatch League?
Non-top 4, most likely.
I mean, it's a little unfair because theoretically Valiant has to play 1 less game. So, but yeah.
Even without that, I don't even know if I'd pick Valiant. I think they have like that meta that they can kind of
Say
peak
Outlaws.
on.
Just say Outlaws. Let's go out on.
No,
Outlaws
I'm gonna
high.
say Glads.
Okay.
It's probably the right.
I'm gonna
pick,
say
I think.
Glads. I think they have like the spice, if you will, and that's so nebulous it doesn't make any sense. But like they have talent with Kevster. Birdring looks fantastic. I think their tank line could aptly be criticized, but if they were to shore that up, I think they have a shot.
Yeah.
I think
I
they
think,
have
like,
the best shot.
Imagine Valiant making that. Jesus Christ, dude.
Could do it. I think there's a world where they can. I just look at how diverse the meta is and I go, do I want to see, somebody come in on Hog and then have to be rotated out? Like, am I interested in seeing a gig Hog? I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I understand.
It's a little weird, but if it can be just Tracer Ash all playoffs long, I think they are the go-to. I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Big thank you to everybody who hung out today. You guys are the best. Big thank you to Coppers, Kenobi Cast, Chris R3444 for the subs and resubs, and Chris for the additional 95 bits. Big thanks to Fire Element 6, and then Hoagies with 3 gifted sub. Thanks so much. Love ya all. If you like the show, consider leaving a sub right here. Otherwise, go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch, sign up to be a patron, or leave a 5-star iTunes review. That last one's free, so you can do that. And make sure to find the show everywhere at Tactical Crouch, including subscribing to our YouTube, youtube.com/tacticalcrouch. Yiska, shout outs to the week. Where can people find you?
I transcribed a dope interview today with Christopher, like a really good one. I think, like, especially like for For young adults, that's a very like the lessons he made in his the last 2 years are very valuable to read about. He's obviously also someone that is well read on the subject of growth. So definitely recommend checking out what he had to say. Otherwise, there's probably also going to come more from that interview. We had to cut some stuff because that boy was already a 6K chunk. Otherwise, yeah, I'm probably just going to continue coverage. Of course, tomorrow it's going wild. And we'll see how it goes there. Just check my Twitter or GG Recon.
Sweet. Joe, what about you? Shout out to the week. Where can people find you?
You can find me on all the socials at Volamel. That's Volamel. As always, got a couple of Valorant pieces coming out this week, looking at Pop Flash, looking at how to best play Killjoy if you're into that. If not, that's cool too. We got a Bird Ring feature coming out this weekend, kind of looking at his history and looking at his little career renaissance coming into the playoffs and why he could be the catalyst for a Glad's Dark Horse run that I kind of obviously alluded to with the question that Yiska kind of posed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's just the content coming out this week. Maybe some think pieces towards the end of the week on some Valorant stuff. But yeah, excited for Overwatch League playoffs to get it moving. Some good games on the horizon.
Sweet. As for me, you can find me everywhere at Kickedtripod. I'm not doing a whole lot, but if you want to check out my YouTube, youtube.com/Kickedtripod.yt, and my Discord, discord.me/Kickedtripod. We talk a lot more tech, kind of industry type stuff there. Make sure to join the Tactical Crouch-ish Discord, the Yiscord, if you will. Discord.me/Yiska out as well to hang out with us, especially if you're a patron, get into that special role and get some of those hidden channels. So thanks, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you Friday for Spike Drop. Otherwise, next Monday for Tactical Crouch, or join us for the watch parties that inevitably happen over the weekend. Bye.
Bye.